Okay, Miss Little. Go ahead, Miss Little.
Okay. Thank you all for being here tonight. We are doing our meeting tonight via live stream. We do have myself, Mr. Jenkins, Miss Kit on the virtual, and we have Mr. Hughes, Miss Nance, and Miss Elders dialed in on the phone. I get everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and I will confirm, Miss Bradham and I spoke earlier, and she did confirm that we have notified the media, and I do declare that we have a quorum. The only member not present at the time is Mr. Carpenter. Hopefully he'll be able to join in. To move forward, we need an approval of our agenda. If we could get a motion for that.
I'll make a motion that we approve our agenda.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hughes. All in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our agenda is approved. Again, I do welcome everyone tonight. I appreciate you taking the time to call in and be with us since we weren't able to meet last week. And just because we're on the phone, I'm not going to skip over our Tell Me Something Good. So I'll start tonight and say that my something good was that I got to spend a weekend with friends in Alabama and down at Sanford, and so that was nice. And so I'll just kind of go through as I see you. So, Mr. Jenkins, why don't you go next?
Okay, I'll go next. Something good. I enjoyed having a weekend of snow. I didn't like the ice, but I really liked the snow. And I have to say, I didn't. All my kids are grown and they're in college, and but my neighbors have small kids, so I got to go outside with a sled and try to sled around and enjoy the fun of playing in the snow with our neighbors' kids. So good times.
Good, thank you. Mike, how about you?
My something good is the agenda's been shortened because but y'all are getting a little chatty, you losers.
All right, that's enough from you. Miss Nance.
I'm on mute.
I'm just grateful. The snow was beautiful, and I survived, and I was warm.
Good.
Fantastic. Miss Elders.
My something good is I got to enjoy the snow. We did not lose any power, and I got to enjoy all the cold weather foods. We have been eating a bunch of soups and stews over here.
Great. All right. Miss Kit.
I enjoyed the snow and getting from the inside. I didn't go outside in it. And getting to see my daughter play in it. It was fun.
Perfect. Dr. Penland.
Yeah, I was just, I too got to enjoy the snow and the ice, but I'm thankful that we didn't lose a lot of power around, and my boys didn't have to get out in the middle of all the power outages and that type of thing. So, and there was not a hip broken in the image that was sent out today. So.
That's good. That's good. Yes, I have received lots of commentary that, you need to step up your game with your announcements.
Yes. So
I'm not sure you'll be able to top Vanilla Ice, though.
That's right.
All right, I think we covered everybody. I appreciate everybody participating in that. And now, if you will, we will continue with saying the Pledge of Allegiance. So, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible,
with liberty
and justice
for
all.
Thank you. And Mr. Jenkins, would you say a prayer for us, please?
Yeah, I would be glad to. Heavenly Father, we're just thankful for the opportunity that you presented to us to look through the school district and the decisions and things that we need to take care of to help better educate our kids, to serve our staff. So Lord, we ask your blessings on this evening. Give us wisdom and insight. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Now we will need motions to approve our minutes for the November 17th meeting and our special called meeting on January the 9th.
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the November the 7th and the special January 9th meeting.
And Mike seconded. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions or discussions? All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes for November 17th, our regular meeting, and the special called meeting on January the 9th, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. And now I will turn it over to Dr. Penland for our district updates.
All right. So just wanted to share an event that's happening this Saturday. If you have not been down Dean Drive, you will see that the water tower that's on Dean Drive will be painted as in home of the Raiders. You can see that on the right. They're going to do a viewing party Saturday at Big Air parking lot, and they're still working out the plans for that. The tentative time for the kind of the reveal and the crane to actually lift it up is tentatively around 2:30, 3:30. I was talking to John Young today, and he said that he would let me know more information about that. So just kind of wanted you to be aware that. So we're very happy CPW chose to decorate the tower this way and have worked with them over the past year or so to get these renditions kind of laid out. So I'm very happy for Kevin Smiley to do the artwork, and they've been able to paint it. So we're excited for that to be lifted up this week. All right. We also have some vision and mission revisions. Amanda is working with the steering committees, and we'll be kind of going through this over the next few days. This February 3rd date has been pushed back to February 5th, and then we'll just continue through that. And so I'll share these slides with you so you can have these dates. Also, on the dates have been set to have a discussion with Sanders grade configuration. Would like to receive some feedback and some information from parents and from the Sanders alumni about possibly making Sanders a 6th grade center and what that would look like and what we need to consider in that process. So here are some dates, and starting February 10th, meeting with the Sanders alumni, and then some time for teacher meetings, parent meetings for the uprising 5th graders, and also what the current 6th and 7th graders would look like. Going into the facility.
Before you go on, back to that. Is it going to be done at Sanders, and are those times set for those yet?
The teacher meetings will be like right after school, so like 3:30. The Sanders alumni, I was waiting to see what time worked best for them, and I think that can be a 5 or 6. And then the parent meetings we'll probably do at 5 or 6 also, but we'll push out all the times here shortly because they'll be a little different in there.
Times, and again, is the assumption here we're going to do that at Sanders, or are we going to do
we'll do a Sanders Lawrence Middle teacher meeting, one at each school.
Okay.
And then we'll do the alumni either here. They typically meet at the museum, or we'll grab the room and use that at Sanders. So we'll whichever one works best for them, and then we'll do a Sanders parent meeting at Sanders.
Great, thank you.
All right, Tabitha, I saw yours jumping. Did you have a question?
No, it's just being finicky. Thank you.
Okay. Facility town halls. This will be kind of based on our facility needs and kind of developing those meetings. These times have been set for kind of the high school. March 10th, the 12th will be at Gray Court. The 19th we'll have morning community district office. We'll do a 24th retired educators to actually bring in some of our previous educators that we had. The 26th, we'll do a session in Waterloo, and then the 31st, we'll hold that as a makeup day additional if we need to shift any of these around or add another one based on locations. And this will be able to go through the decision that the board made about which kind of options we were looking at, kind of the tear down rebuild option that was chosen for the high school, and also the additions of the needs at each individual school, looking at kind of building that information to share information on kind of the plan, with the goal of if we feel like the community will support it, we'll shoot for a referendum in November. That has to be all decided and formalized by, it's either June or July 15th, has to be to the election commission to make it to the ballot for November. Any questions about the town halls?
Will you share that slide with the board as well?
Sure. Yeah, I'll send this whole deck. Yes, ma'am. Updates on athletics. Wanted to kind of shout out our wrestling. You know, AI can do some amazing things today. So this is Coach Lawson Jordan at the high school. They have made the playoffs. They are currently ranked and seeded 8th in the state for 4A, and they were supposed to wrestle this past weekend, but now they've kind of bumped that, and to my knowledge, they're scheduling that later this week. Wanted to recognize our fall all-region athletes. We had several that made all-region. You can see those names here, and I'll send those to you on the phone. But football, DeMaje Crooks, Logan Bragg, Nemo Fernandez, Brock Franklin; cross country, Cody Patterson, Hunter Power; cheer, Nia Hunter, Mary Frances Kennedy, Madison Fowler; volleyball, Alexis Clay, Carrie Bartley; and tennis, Sarah Beth Field and Ella Sanders. So I want to do a shout out for them. Also with something else that's happening with our basketball, they're currently first in the region. And so if you have a chance to go out and support them, they are doing very well this year. And I wanted to shout out them as they continue to really step it up and have played well. Attendance, again, we are on the e-learning tomorrow. And Heather, I'm showing, and Heather was the crafter of this visual for us. So it's amazing how AI, I'm assuming she got this, because it's even my boots that I wear. So it's crazy that how realistic this is. And so, but there was no animals or humans injured in this creation. But we will be e-learning tomorrow. Whenever we went out to look at different roads, you typically get on a road and it is dry as a bone, but then you'll come up against another section in a road and it is covered in absolute ice. And, and again, whenever we share how we kind of take that in consideration, really looking at, we have a couple of hundred student drivers. We have 25% of our staff coming in from out of district. And then we have about 60 buses on the road that carry about 2,000 of our students. We just couldn't take the risk of putting our kids and our staff on the roads tomorrow, even though the majority of them are dry and clear. And as we kind of go into the February-March calendar, you'll see here that February the 2nd and 3rd are our e-learning days. We're allowed to have 5 of those. So we used 2 last week, 2 this week, and we'll still have 1 remaining, and also another makeup day on March 13th if needed. So we basically still have 2 built into the calendar as we move forward. Again, we have staff development the 13th next week, and no school on the 16th, which is a vacation day for everyone. March 3rd will be early release, and like I said, March 13th will be a makeup day, and if not needed, there will be no school that day.
Dr. Finland, I have a question.
Sure.
So last week, I know that McMaster had South Carolina declared a state of emergency.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we still have to consider those our e-learning days since we were under state of emergency?
We do. That may come into play to where if we have to go deeper into the number of days, we might be able to ask for forgiveness, but they typically have said you have to take the 8 that you have built into your calendar, the 5 e-learning, the 3 makeups, before you can do anything outside of that with state of emergency. They really didn't like, even with Helene, whenever it came through and we missed 7 days there, for us utilizing anything other than the ones that were already built into the calendar.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I know this is going to be on our later February meeting, but I kind of wanted to go ahead and give you some information up front on the calendar revision proposal. You know, we did send out that information, so this will be coming out. The current calendar for approved next year, we have November the 2nd and March the 12th as makeup days. The proposed calendar will move those to the Monday, Tuesday of Thanksgiving week, and we'll remove those out of the calendar, which would be the day before Election Day and also that March 12th. We did do the interest survey. We sent out and got back a little over almost 1,100 responses, and 43 of those were parent guardians. 43% of those were parent guardians. And whenever we're looking at that, it was almost an 89% chance 89% in agreement to move the days to have the full week at Thanksgiving if we didn't have to use those as makeup days. So that'll be coming up at the end of February for a vote for y'all. And we kind of wanted to let you know that. So if you come into our schools now, you'll see a lot of our staff in blue jeans. We are now beating the winter blues with blue jeans through the end of February for continuing to build our 5-star culture of excellence and recognizing what the teachers, do. It's amazing what blue jean will allow for a teacher to just have that extra little bit of comfort in their rooms. And so you will see that in our buildings. All right. So that was my update. Any questions there before we jump into Wanda's presentation? All right, Wanda.
All right. Well, good evening again. I'm glad
Good evening.
I'm glad to see everybody survived the snowstorm and staying warm, and glad to hear everybody didn't have a lot of power loss. So anyway, I just have a few quick updates on student nutrition. Just to kind of give some highlights. So basically, you guys know who we serve. We support every student every day, trying to provide nutritious breakfast, lunch, and after-school snacks. We focus on their health, their wellness, and their success because students need good nutrition to do their best academically. That is a proven fact. Okay. There we go. So how many meals have we served? I just want to kind of give a little update. Last year, we did 496,097 meals. And our goal, of course, is always to continue to increase in the breakfast, the lunch, after-school snack, and the seamless summer program. So speaking of the seamless summer, we actually, in the summer of 2025, we did 81,142 meals, and that was to our children in Lawrence County, in our community. Then we are now allowed, which we were very excited about, because our the winter break at Christmas is longer than 10 days, we were able to offer meals to our students. So on the last day, on December 19th, our staff got together and we actually put together 10 days of meals. That was allowed by USDA and the State Department, which we got approval for. So on that day, that afternoon, 12:30 to 1:30, we provided 12,860 meals distributed to our children to take home for the winter holiday. Okay, and I also wanted to add, I couldn't remember, Jody, if that was on that slide or not. I wanted to add, we also were able to do what they call an unanticipated closure, which would be the inclement weather. So last Friday, we got approval to be able to send meals home for Monday, since we knew that was going to be an e-learning day. And last Friday, we did 3,976 breakfast and 3,976 lunches that went home with our children. And we handed those out as they left for the day. So when this storm came back around again, we decided we were going to do the same thing again this Friday. And so this Friday, we did 4,040 breakfast, 4,040 lunches. They went home with the students again, so they would at least have something over the weekend or on today as they had e-learning. But I just have to give a shout out to our student nutrition staff. They worked very hard to get these meals out because it's a very short notice. As you guys know, it's a quick turnaround. when Dr. Penland and you guys get together and make that decision, they were still able to get these meals out before the kids left for that day. So I can't say enough about our student nutrition staff. So thank you. They are truly the best.
Yep. Thank you, Wanda, for your team doing that too.
Yes, we were very, very happy to do it. Very happy to do it. And of course,
Yeah, go ahead.
I have something I want to say to Miss Knight as well. Wanda, I really appreciate you and your staff making sure that our kids in this district are fed, when things like that, these stories come up, and y'all make sure that these meals are able to go home to kids that they have something to eat. I really appreciate that.
well, thank you very much. And that's kind of our goal here as we kind of lead into this. I mean, we want our children in Lawrence 55 to be able to have meals whenever it's available. So we work very hard to ensure that all students across the board have that access if they want that meal, as it's allowable by USDA and SCDE. So, we really appreciate the support that you guys give us as well on that end. We do work really hard to offer fresh fruits and vegetables. Of course, our meals align with the nutrition standards, and we try our best to buy locally as much as possible. We have SC certified produce purchased as much as we can. Just this past week, I was notified that we actually are getting a $7,000 grant through the SC. It's actually through the South Carolina Department of Agriculture, that we can actually purchase anything locally grown in South Carolina, and that will begin. Really, spring would be a better time because that's when we're going to have a lot of fruits and vegetables coming in from South Carolina. So we're excited to be able to expand that out. So you guys will probably be hearing something about that in the next few weeks. But we did just get notification on that. So I'm very excited that we got $7,000 to spend toward that. All right, so our special programs, of course, we try to do a lot of taste testing because obviously our students are our customers, and we want them to eat with us. So we want their feedback. And we value their feedback. So we do a lot of taste testing to try and, find out what they like, what they dislike. And also we do holiday meals. We do themed meals, which is like our National School Lunch Week, our National School Breakfast Week. We did have Hispanic Heritage Day lunch. We will have Black History lunch in February. And of course, we also have our fresh fruit and vegetable program, which will lead into just a little bit about that. We were awarded for this school year $145,219.30 to spend on fresh fruits and vegetables. So what's that really mean? In our elementary schools, a lot of our kids may not have the opportunity to buy different types of fruits and vegetables or have the opportunity to try fresh fruits and vegetables. So through a grant with the state and USDA, we are able to have our elementary students try different types of fruits and vegetables through this grant. And so basically we have this in all of our elementary schools at this time, except Hickory Tavern. They don't quite meet the criteria, but we continue to apply every year for them. So hopefully we'll be able to have all elementaries at some point in time. But it's a great program where the kids really, they like some things and they don't like some things, so it's really good to be able to watch them try things. And of course, the teachers get involved with it, and we take it to the classrooms for the students to be able to try at least 2 to 3 times a week. Okay. And I have to, again, give shout out to our amazing student nutrition team. Right now, we have about 82 student nutrition professionals. They are truly committed to serving our students with pride. They work very hard. They do lots of training. They have teamwork, they're very professional, and they're dedicated and caring. And again, I mentioned them earlier, but I do want to give another shout out to them because they're out there every day working hard to feed our kids. And of course, there's always a few challenges that I like to note, and of course, we try our best to find solutions. But as you all know, food costs continue to rise, so we monitor that. Weekly, we continue to update our kitchen equipment. Some of it is outdated, but we're fortunate enough to be able to have the funds to update. So we're continually updating our kitchen equipment. And of course, we stay focused on efficiency, service, and our employee retention. We work really hard to retain our employees. And looking ahead, as I mentioned earlier, we continue to try to improve participation. We continue to expand menu options. We continue to train our staff. We can never get enough training. And we do a lot of training in the summer. We do some throughout the year because we want the highest quality, the safest food. We do a lot of food safety training. And, of course, we want our students to be able to engage with us. So I just want to thank you guys, all you school board trustees, Dr. Penland, for your continued support of our student nutrition program. We couldn't do it without you guys, and we're just very proud to serve our students every day. So any questions or anything that I may need to expand upon or talk about more? I know it was kind of short and sweet, but I just wanted to kind of give a few highlights.
Wanda, I want to echo what Ms. Elders was talking about earlier, that we do really appreciate you and your team and everything y'all do to provide the food for our kids.
We're always very happy to do it.
Agreed. Thank you, Miss Knight.
Thank you. Thank you. Y'all have a great evening.
Thanks.
You too.
All right, now we'll swap over to Ms. Lacrose. Amanda.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. I am back again. If you just want to go to the next slide, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about school improvement. As you know, we have kind of institutionalized the school improvement process for all our schools every year so that if and when we end up with different varying designations and are required to submit some kind of either improvement plan, strategic plan, school renewal plan, reading plan, we've gone through the best practices for developing those plans. So today I'm going to showcase for you the 4 school improvement plans that are required for us to submit to the state for our 4 schools that have a below average rating on the school report card. Keep in mind, all 9 of our schools have improvement plans. We begin those in the summer. And we start off by looking at our data. We identify focus areas, and then we plan and select evidence-based practices to address those focus areas to help us to improve. With the school improvement process, we also take that information out to our community. So through our SICs, as well as through surveys and things like that, each of the individual schools that I'm going to talk about tonight went to their stakeholders and requested input on the improvement plan that they had already started crafting in the summer. They brought it to them in about November and December, made adjustments to their improvement plan to reflect some of the things the stakeholders wanted to see. And stakeholders were talking about parents, sometimes students, depending on the grade level, as well as teachers and support staff. Then we need to obviously take it to you, and then it goes to the state, and we will continue to implement our improvement plans. Sorry, I was going to flip my slide, but it's not me. So let me just flip to my other page. I have 2 screens going simultaneously. One thing that I did want to mention is that all of our plans they all reflect the Lawrence 55 model. The Lawrence 55 model is the closest that we could get to the TAP model after our funding was cut last February unexpectedly. We had a federal TSL, Teacher and School Leader grant, that was supposed to run through 3 full school years, and we got about a little over a year in that grant. So we are continuing to use instructional leadership teams. We also have a district instructional leadership team. We're continuing to do instructional coaches. They're running clusters on a weekly basis, which is professional learning for our teachers. And then this year, we also have a visible learning focus where teaching and learning has done a phenomenal job of honing in on 2 particular visible learning strategies for the first half of the year, and we are rolling out the next 2 visible learning strategies district-wide. And so those are all reflected in major components of our improvement plans at each of the schools. So just to keep in mind, the South Carolina School Report Card, if you just want to flip to another one, elementary and middle schools, 90 points out of 100 are based on student academic performance. At the high school, 45 points are student academic performance and 50 points are college, career, and military readiness. And you're probably wondering, well, what are the other 10 and 5? And those are climate points. But the biggest chunk of our school report cards pre-K to 8 are student academic performance, and then about 50-50 with student academic performance, and then college, career, and military readiness at the high school. And that impacts how we choose what our focus areas are going to be. Keep in mind, all of the goals that you'll see tonight are specifically designed to get us more points in these categories, so that you'll start to see those. So as a district, we also create goals. Each year, our district instructional leadership team meets, and these are our goals for this school year. At the grades 3 through 8 level, because that's what's on our report card, our goal is to increase the percentage of students scoring proficient in ELA, English Language Arts, by 12% and math by 15%. And you might be wondering why the differentiation there. We actually have seen so much growth in English Language Arts that we are starting to close the gap between us and where we were separated from the state average, and we're closing that gap. And in order for us to continue on that trajectory and continue to close that gap, we need to hit about 12% this year, where last year we needed to hit more than that. At the high school level, same thing. We're seeing the same thing. Our English 2 scores are actually right in line with the state. So we're recommending a 10% improvement in English 2. And Algebra 1, you'll notice that says by May 2027. And that's because Algebra 1 will be administered to a really limited number of students this year, because the students are taking geometry as freshmen, and our sophomores are also taking geometry. So there are very few students taking Algebra 1 this year because of the transition with the new South Carolina math standards. So that's just kind of why you keep that in mind. And I'll remind you again when we get next fall and we start looking at the high school report card and the algebra numbers and things. I'll remind you of that, and I can show you how that kind of impacts that. But with those goals in mind, I'll share with you the individual school goals. We'll start out with Ford. Ford's school report card rating was below average, 37 points. Average is 42 points. Okay, you might have downloaded that before I hit those. Average is 42 points. So that's where we want to get at least next school year. And these goals are the goals that the instructional leadership team, as well as their school improvement committee, have designated as ways for them to be able to get there. They're looking for a 10% improvement both in English Language Arts and math. In their earlier grades, they're also looking at an increase from 34 to 40% for proficiency, and 28 to 38 in math. That's a big 10% jump. If you recall, a number of years ago, 3 years ago, I believe it was the first year I was here, Waterloo ended up with an excellent rating. Their rating primarily came from student growth. Student growth is where school transformation starts, where we start to notice that. And that's what Ford is targeting here with their goals. If you'll notice that they're looking to increase the proficiency, but they're also looking to improve the performance of all students as well. They also are targeting their school climate area. And then with their population, they're just a little bit lower than 40% of their population are multilingual learners, which is a significant portion of the school report card. A multilingual learner, depending on their varying needs, could count 5 times on a school report card. And so with up to almost 40% of their students being multilingual learners, it's important for them to really take a look at how they're providing the educational program to their multilingual learners. So those are their 4 primary focus areas that they will be focusing on in their improvement plan.
I just want to make sure I understood what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a multilingual student
Mm-hmm.
that is high in performance, then we get it still marks it as a 5x compared to a non-multilingual.
Right. So it gets a
And
little.
also, the opposite is that true. If they're underperforming, then it really hurts the district.
Correct. It does.
Okay.
It does. So a multilingual student, for example, can count in 3 different categories as well as a number of different subgroups. And so subgroups are other federal designations that I'll talk to you about at another board meeting, because we have a number of schools that have some federal designations, which we're fine. We have improvement plans and they're designed to improve all students as well as subgroups. And so we're working on those with a lot of our schools as well.
And this is at the state level, or is this at the state level?
Right now, these are our state improvement plans. Yes.
Yeah, but I guess I'm a little dumbfounded that all of a sudden we got a particular group within the school district that's is measured differently than all the other groups. A 10-year-old is a 10-year-old, right? I don't know the history behind that, but it seems odd.
Sometimes they just have some different needs. It definitely, every time we do a school report card, we just have to dig into that data. That's why the first step of school improvement is to dig into the data and figure out what exactly is going on. And sometimes our subgroups are kind of canaries in a coal mine. They can let us know, hey, something's a little off here, and then we can adjust so that the whole program stays strong. So,
is there a way to get a score without that weighting, just so we can compare if all students are equal, here's what our score would be versus here's the weighted score?
So whenever you're looking at the data, if a school has more than 20 students that fall into an ML category that's tested, then a percentage of those points that's the school report card would go into their overall score. So we could do some backing out of those, of just removing those scores, the 10 points that are set aside for ML students at the elementary or at the schools that have 20 or more. Then you could kind of put it kind of some apples to apples versus, some schools have an ML population, some schools don't.
Yeah, it would be interesting, but I don't want to add to anybody's workload here. I just thought if it's something that you could do quickly, I think it would be an interesting data point to see just how big an impact that weighting is doing to our score.
Right. We have seen that. And just so that you're aware, the multilingual learner progress is it's a major concern statewide. The state is looking at how that's being measured and evaluated currently right now. And there is a proposal to have that change. They may not be able to change that until the 2027 report card, but it is going to change because they recognize that it's not a valid measure for schools. So, but it's still something that we want to take a look at, obviously, especially at Ford with almost 40% of our population being multilingual learners. We want to see how we're doing with that. So,
thank you for the details. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Great Court is another one of our schools that has a large multilingual program. But they were identified as a below average school with 41 points. Keep in mind, average is 42. So they're 1 point off. They did go up by 2 points from last school year. I'm very confident they're going to end up at 42 or more points next year. My fingers crossed. That's the school I think I've been with for 3 years now. So I'm kind of excited to watch this. They're really moving forward. They have identified some additional intervention for their students in the elementary school as one of their goals. And then, of course, they too are looking at increasing their students that are in the does not meet category, their lowest group of students, and moving them all 10% up, both in English language arts as well as in mathematics. And they're doing that grades 3 through 8. They are only required to write an improvement plan for elementary, but they've chosen to look at their whole program because they want to bring everybody along and move them forward. They've seen some really great growth last school year, as is indicative of the 2 points on the report card. And keep in mind, their English language arts growth really wasn't counted on the report card last year. So because of the new standards, and we'll see something similar with math this coming year. So I'm excited about that plan for them. Our next school is Lawrence Elementary. They too were at 41 points and average is 42. So we're talking about two schools that are only 1 point off. And they will also, will also be looking at increasing their English language arts scores. You'll notice they have a pretty ambitious goal for themselves. It looks like, it's about 15% increase in English language arts, and a 15% increase in math. They've challenged themselves, and I think that they're gonna do really well with that. They too have a goal that's very similar to Ford's in that they're also looking at making sure that all other students, if they're already proficient, are still growing, and their students that are being assessed in MAP and FastBridge are also growing by 10%. So, and then their final goal will address school climate. They have a good school climate, and they're just looking to get a couple more points. You get one more point on school climate, and they'll be at 42. So, and Great Court's numbers actually were pretty interesting. I think they were 42.4 or 41.8, and they don't round up at the state. So, they're both very close. Our high school actually had the one of the largest numbers of points to grow from 2024. They went up 4 points from last year. They're still at 48 points, and average is 51. Obviously, we want to go well beyond average, but that's the point where they wouldn't have to submit an improvement plan to the state. But they are targeting, and keep in mind, 45% of their report card is their end of course exams. For English 2, they're looking at going up by 10%, and then Algebra 1, they are also targeting that as well. Obviously, they won't have the results of that one this coming year. They will the following year, but they have assessments that they use throughout the school year with the students that they have, and they're going to like to see an improvement with those groups of students. And their first goal is targeted on their college and career ready, and their high school success indicator, which means are students graduating? Are they graduating on time? Are they graduating with a college ready or career ready, military ready, or both, or all three? And those are their, that's the high school success indicator. So they're looking at improving that as well. By doing those things, they will also hit average or above. So those are their areas that they're looking at improving. Can I answer any other questions as I go through them? Okay, so to just wrap it up quickly, is you are likely to see these again. As I mentioned, school improvement plans also feed our strategic plans. Every school, along with our district, must submit a new 5-year strategic plan this April. That's why we're going through the strategic planning process. And our schools and our district were already looking at data, and now we're going in and we're going to all be revising our vision and mission statements. You'll see these improvement plans again. We also have some federal designations where our subgroups need to improve a little bit, and we will just add some additional goals onto these existing plans for these schools as well as our others that have those federal designations. But the biggest thing about school improvement, and the way that I've always seen it, is school improvement's an opportunity to take the time to really look and dig into what's going on and see how we can do something just a little bit better than what we did it yesterday. So, is that?
Thank you, Ms. Lacklerise.
You're welcome. We do need to have them approved.
Yes, okay, I was just going to confirm that. So we do need board action on the information that Ms. Lacklerise just presented. So if we could get a motion to approve the school improvement plan as presented, I would appreciate it.
I'll make a motion to approve it as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Thank you, Ms. Kidd. Is there any further discussion or questions? Okay, with that, if we There's a motion to approve the school improvement plan as presented by Ms. Blackrose. If you agree, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the school improvement plan is approved. Thank you, Ms. Blackrose. I appreciate you being here tonight.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, so our next item on the agenda will be our finance report. I do want to welcome Miss Leanne London and give her a moment to introduce herself, but I should have made this my something good because it is nice to have her on staff. She came in last week to do her onboarding and was hanging around and kind of already jumped in doing work. And then her first day of work today, she was e-learning. So, Leanne, if you want to share anything with the group, that'd be great.
It's nice to meet everyone. I'm Leanne London. I come from Lexington Richland School District 5, and I am so proud to be the CFO of your school district, and we're going to do wonderful things for the community. We got lots of things to do, and I'm ready to go.
And she's a wealth of information. Just coming in and meeting with her for the first, she's already asking questions that are way over my head, and I'm like, okay, well, you know to ask questions, then you know more than I do. So, so we're happy to have her, and again, welcome, Leanne.
Thank you.
Welcome, Miss London. I'm glad you're here, and I appreciate you choosing Lawrence. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Ms. London, did I mention that the record during the meeting for giving a financial report was 2 minutes and 37 seconds?
I like that.
You could break that.
So we'll let her use this as her breaking record because she's finished now, and now I get to take over on the financial updates. So I do want to mention to you, I did send out a new cash flow a few minutes ago. The balance of the treasurer was not included, so I had to go back and add that real quick. But if you want to look at the November balance with the treasurer, $6,354,999 with revenues of $20,513,646 with expenditures of $20,834,165 with a total tax collections for the month of November $3,683,989. Whenever you scroll down to the budget to actual comparison for the month of November, you'll see the highlighted in yellow areas where that was the budget that y'all revised last month and was able to went ahead and put those in. So this will be the last time it'll be highlighted on our report, but I did want to kind of show you those corrections there. The highlighted in pink, we're shooting for a 58% or higher goal remaining. You can see we have that through a majority of our areas except workman's comp because we've already paid half of that for the year. Organization membership dues, all that was kind of a one-time payment at the top. And then our tort and liability insurance, that was, we did the amendment last month to cover the remaining balance that we needed for that. So in the month of November, with a 58% remaining goal, we're pretty much running at a 65%. So that's pretty much on target there. You'll see the budget to actual revenue comparison there for November. We are still waiting on some deposits into our revenue accounts, but we have already received, I think that's 34% of our revenue, with a lot of that to come throughout the year. Any questions on November before I go into December?
Yeah, I was just curious. I see the student transportation item 331. Are you any concern about that since we're already at 105% of the budget and we're not?
That's percent remaining. That actually negative 1,284 is a deposit.
Let's say it needs to be reversed then. I got you.
Yep. So that's a deposit that we got a refund for something. So we had budgeted 25,000, have a 26,000 remaining. So
thank you for that clarity.
Yep. All right. Going into December, We have balance with a treasurer of $8,317,818, which is up about $6 million from last year. $600,000 from last year. Revenues $27,707,283 compared to expenditures of $25,786,508, with a difference of $1,920,774, with our total December tax collections being $4,419,181. And actually these are kind of swapped in order. So you'll have the revenue page next, that you can see that we're at 46% of our revenue there. And then whenever you get to the last page there, our budget to actual for expenditures with a goal of remaining 50%. You can see the workman's comp. We had a third payment there, so we were down to our 24%. And also our membership dues, again, is at 31%. But overall, with our goal remaining 50%, we're remaining at 57% of our budgeted items.
Hey, Dr. Penland, I hate to ask again.
That's fine.
I may be seeing this wrong, but back on cash flow for
Yep.
December, you've got the difference is in red, which typically indicates a negative. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I actually noticed that too. In one
No,
of them.
it's also there in brackets in the other one. If it
Okay.
was negative, so it should be a black, but it is not bracketed, so that is a positive
Okay.
compared to revenues versus expenditures there. Yep.
Okay, good.
All right. Any questions on the budget to actual or the budget report for November and December? All right. The next item we have is a capital budget amendment request. In your packet, you'll see that you had a page similar to this, but you also had a backup page that's going to describe what each highlighted area was. Let me give you a little bit of explanation of why we're asking this. In probably the last page or next last page of each budget that we have approved over the last several years, you have a capital budget plan. And so we roughly get $4 million for capital that's left over that we kind of allocate that out to different projects and plans. In this, you can see that we have a little bit of money left in the 21-22 column. So whenever you're looking at this is our budget number. So you have 512. So that's our capital funds. Then you have the function and the object and the modifier. The 4-digit number going down through there is the modifier. And that's how we keep it separated based on which calendar year it was approved in which budget. So whenever you're looking at the first two lines, that was approved in the 21-22 fiscal year budget. And so we still have a little bit of money there left. That'll be kind of used up with some security devices. You can see 22-23 and on down with each one of those black lines. In our budget for last school year, we had put in the budget for 1.6 million, set aside 1.6 million for the additional wing at Sanders. We had allotted 4 million of that money for ESSER funds to complete that facility. We knew that we would need a little bit more money. We budgeted that we needed 1.6. We only needed about 500,000 of that. So we have 1.1 million remaining in the Sanders addition line. So we're requesting now that we are allowed to take that 1.6 million and reallocate to other items for capital upgrades. So from that first section, that section there for the 24-25, we would like to be able to take that Sanders 1.1 million and reallocate that down at the bottom with those like athletic upgrades, some bathroom upgrades at the high school, do some other additional building upgrades, which is more of a general, just kind of if something comes up in those different areas, and also a safety system implementation, which could also include a camera system, the new camera system that we are looking at the high school. And so that's how we would like to take and propose that we are amending last year's capital projects, capital fund projects list to include these 4 new items.
So,
Go
are
ahead.
you? I'm trying to understand. So that's the 25 capital fund. We got the 26 capital fund. Are we going to move those 4 items that you have on the 25 and eventually shift them to the 26, and then just shift money from 25 to the 26 fund?
So what we like to do
Or is this all kept separate?
We keep it separate so we know which plan it's approved under.
Okay.
And so which budget it's approved under. So we can carry this money forward each year if it's not used. And so this is money that we just have not used and how it's allotted.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's what we're requesting. And I'm trying to keep it in the calendar year that it was, the 1.6 was approved, and how we would change that plan to add these additional items to work on.
So just make sure I understand this. So when I look at the 24 capital fund, I see a balance of almost 600,000.
Correct.
So there's still 600,000 there. There's a 1.4 in the 25, which gives us a total of 2 million in those two capital fund years. Am I reading that correctly? That
You are reading that correctly. So,
okay.
24, 25, roughly 600,000. 23, 24, roughly 600,000. 24, 25, we still have the 1.3 or 1.4 million. And 1.1 of that is the Sanders addition and how we would shift that around to the other areas.
Okay.
And then, you can see current year, we've used about half of what we had allocated for current year.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So on this, I would request some budget approval to amend the capital fund budgets to address these areas of need.
Okay, so if there's no additional questions, we would need a motion to approve the transfer of the funds for the capital project budget as presented.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we approve the transferring of those funds based on what Dr. Penland presented.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor of moving the funds for the capital projects as presented by Dr. Penland this evening, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so the amendment is approved. All right, and now next we do have to move into executive session, so I do need a motion to do that.
I'll make a motion to move in executive session.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, we will now move into executive session, and Dr. Penland, you can just let us know when we're ready.
All right, so let me work a little bit to get everything swapped over. All right, so Renee will stay. Wanda, Amanda, y'all can log off. Candace, Rhett will stay. Leanne, you can log off. Okay, Danny, are you, whenever you're ready to tell us you're swapped over to executive session?
Do you want me to just log off and then log back in, or you want to go into the breakout room?
I couldn't get everybody's breakout room built beforehand, so
I'll just log off then.
Oh, and I'll text you whenever we're ready to come back.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.